partner push was a lot. It was a lot. Like there was a lot of emotional things going on because I was struggling with my like mental. Like I was in therapy at the time, and there was just a lot of things going on, and I let a lot of people in that I shouldn't have, and then I got hurt, and then I stopped streaming because I was depressed. Again, vicious cycle.
Thanks, CJ, for being here. It really, really means a lot to me because, you and I have known each other for a long time. And the funny thing is, like, you had me on your first streamer showcase. Is that correct? The very first one?
Yes.
And now I get to be on the other side of it and be interviewing you and talking with you. So I'm super proud, super happy that I'm having you as my actual first recording with an interview. So I don't know if it'll be the first podcast that comes out, but it'll almost 100% be likely that you are in the initial drop of the first 3 or 4 episodes that come out all at the same time on launch. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm just honored to be here because we connected very quickly.
Yes.
Off nothing but straight hoodlum energy. Like there was no adult reasoning.
No.
It was just rush hour.
Like literally. Rush hour.
It was rush hour. It just Lee. Kata. That was it.
Lee.
That was
Kata.
So many people were annoyed with us.
I know.
That's all we did, and we didn't care.
Yeah, we didn't care, and I didn't it's been so long since we've done that, and I just did that to you yesterday.
It brought you right back, huh?
It brought me right back to when we met. So it's pretty cool, super cool. But yeah, let's start by introducing yourself. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
Well, my name is Capernaum. If you go on my social media, you'll see it. I'm very, very open with what my name is. But my name is Capernaum, but I go by Your Daily Average Nerd, aka YD, aka Young Dave. I am a content creator that became friends with Dangles through Endless Era, which is our group at this time. And honestly, people ask me like, what makes you tick? What makes you like you? What makes you Young Dave? What makes you YD? And I honestly think that at some point I just stopped caring on what people thought of me. And I truly embraced that little child inside of me and like took my child, mashed them together, and then was like, okay, I'm going to just share this person with the rest of the world. And whatever I get is what I'll get. And if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. But at least it's authentic. So.
Yeah. And I think that's a really tough thing for people to get over, is being authentic and being them and not being a persona or someone or the feeling like they have to be someone else on stream or online, right? Mashing together everything and being yourself is, a lot harder to do than people think. So very commendable that you do that. Because I mean, there, you see streamers like Dr. Disrespect who become like a pretty much whole different persona, right? And I mean, it works for some people. Like he's a clear example that works for him, but for most people, that's going to be really hard for them to be someone that they're not. And like you're the perfect example of being just who you are and being the big goofball that you are. So, and that's why people love you, right? So,
one of many, I guess. Growing up, my dad always said I was a clown, and not like I wanted to make fun of people, but I just really liked making people laugh and smile because I knew what it was like. Where I'd be heated. Something, stubbed my toe, lost my phone, can't find the $10 I was going to use for lunch. And then someone gave me a good laugh and my whole day turned around.
Yeah.
So like I just wanted to make other people laugh. And so I just got the title clown like growing up.
Well, you do that pretty successfully on stream because I don't know like anyone who would ever be like, CJ's having a bad day. Like he's not him. Like when you're on, you're always yourself. You bring that energy. You're always smiling, like as everyone can see. Like, give everyone that big smile, like right now, because like, how can you not love this guy when you like come into a stream and see like, and just see his like bright energy, right? Like you light up any room. Anyways, tell me about like what makes you unique. I mean, I've already said a lot of things, but in your opinion, what makes you unique?
I would say that when it, I think the thing that makes me unique is I've never been classified with social anxiety, but like I have a friend who's basically a person that he's like a therapist. He studies humans and sees how they act and react and interact. And he's like let on to me that I potentially have like a social anxiety. But my social anxiety I've always combated with talking more. So I'll go into a situation and people are like, "Oh my god, you just like did that, and you did this, and you talked to this one, you made 3 friends. Like, how'd you do it?" And I was like, "Oh, I was terrified the entire time. Like, I just kept talking."
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people shied away. Like, I just kept talking, and I just wasn't scared, I guess, to show like who I am. So I would say like what makes me unique is the fact that in times usually where I'm nervous or shy or worried, I would just talk, but I wouldn't just talk to talk. I'd talk to like show my intention, especially if I wanted someone to know that was very serious about a situation. But I would say it's that, and the God-given ability. Really, it's not something I practice, of just being able to like make a friend anywhere I go. Like I'll go anywhere. I'll be out of state. In 30 minutes, I made a new buddy. Don't know how I did it, but accidentally did it. And then now my friends are like, "I can't take you anywhere." I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's probably the smile, and it's probably just like you seem like a friendly, happy-go-lucky guy, right? So, I think anybody who when you talk to them, anybody who sees you or has that initial interaction with you isn't going to be defensive or anything like that, because you just have a friendly aura about you. So I think that's another thing that really makes you unique. We're going to get straight into it. And, right off the bat, why did you start streaming?
I moved away from Texas where all my family was. My immediate family, the family I grew up with, the family that really matters to me. And I was jobless for about a month. During that month, I was doing a lot of things that I wanted to do, or like testing different skills that I had. My uncle had me like writing like 3 articles a day. So I had a blog and I was writing articles. I was stat keeping, like stat tracking for different like competitions for like League of Legends tournaments. I was doing all this different stuff regarding this kind of field. And I remember people being like, "CJ, you have the personality for a streamer. I don't know why you don't do it." Like there's so many people that are successful that aren't fun to watch. And just watching you just like live life is so interesting. Like I would love to see that on a screen. So after hearing about it and knowing I was super into video games, I decided to push the button. And, originally was literally through my PS4, and I would have the chat put up on my laptop and called it a day. And I quit for a while, but then came back. And so I definitely would say that I started streaming to be able to, if somebody didn't want to play a game or didn't want or couldn't or didn't have the time, I wanted to basically just create like this area on the internet and in life that people could just feel safe in. And not safe because I baby you, but safe because you can speak freely. And even if we disagree, you know that you're still good. Like we can disagree and you can be like, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." Why? Because we're not supposed to be just alike. So I very much so just wanted to create what I was taught being a Christian was supposed to be, but what it's not. And just being like a safe, loving place for anybody, even the people that try to disrupt, it's still dealt with in a nicer way, a nicer manner, a more positive manner. Like I never tell anyone like don't ever talk to me again. Like why? Because you're gonna grow up one day, and then one day you're gonna realize what happened between us and how you went wrong and how I went wrong, and then we can reconcile and then keep it pushing.
Yeah.
So I think I definitely just wanted to stream to create a safe place for people and to be able to share my little processing brain with everyone else who cared.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. And can you talk about, what it was like for you that first time, like streaming on your PS4? Because I know that a lot of people out there, they think that, streaming on my console is just too hard, or, the quality is not going to be good, or people aren't going to watch me because I'm on console. What would you say to those people?
I would say that it's really not about your viewers. I know the first thing you're going to do is look. But what I did early on was I stopped looking at my viewer count, and it changed the dynamic of when I streamed. I wasn't worried about if I had 4 people, 5 people, 8 people, 10 people. I was just worried. There was times where I would have 10 people, but nobody was talking. So I had zero idea. It's okay, because I was doing me. And I think that people will appreciate when you're just you, and then you address them as they come up. Because half the time, a lot of people are just going to be watching. They're not saying anything. And even if you get to 100 people, there could be 100 people in chat and only 10 people are talking.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing. It's a hard metric to really get, because you want that instant gratification of, oh, I'm doing it, I have more people. It's not about that. If you're doing it to literally, and of course, why you're doing what you're doing changes everything. But if you're doing it to be able to see if it's something you enjoy, you definitely do not need to worry about the viewer count. Like turn that off. Turn it off and just play something. Don't even worry about what's popular. Play something you want to play.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much easier it was to stream when I played things I wanted to play. Like I was just sharing my corner of my life with the rest of the world. Yeah, there was a degree to like, okay, like if a newer game's coming out that I want to play, I would save the money to go buy it because I already wanted to play it, and now I potentially could get more people in. But I would say literally just stay true to like your interest, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful advice. I myself experienced the same thing where, when you started getting views, I felt like it was the coolest thing ever. It made me feel like elated. And as soon as, I had a stream where, there was no one that came around or no one chatting, it was really discouraging to see that viewer count sitting at like 1 or 2 or, sometimes 0. And it got to me, right? And it took me back, and I said, why am I streaming? Why am I getting, so fed up or irritated with this when, I can just turn off like, why did I start streaming? I started streaming Apex Legends to nobody, but I just wanted to stream. I just wanted to try it out, and I was having fun. And I think that's what a lot of people forget to go back to is, hey, just, especially when you're starting, just like you said, stream something that you really enjoy, something that's fun, and turn that viewer count off. Don't even let it be something that you can look at and possibly, get into your head. You want to start streaming because you want to have fun and you just want to meet other people, right? So I think that's really, really powerful advice, and I couldn't recommend that enough because I've experienced that myself.
It's definitely something that it takes a rewiring of your brain. It's definitely one of the hardest parts of doing it, but if you go into it with authenticity will find you. And if you're doing it to get big and famous, I can't help you with that, because while I would love to be able to do it full time, right now it's not an option to do it full time because I have responsibilities. But if I could do something like that full time, I never know where life is going to take me. And so I do it now for fun. Like I'm going to game, I might as well throw up a stream. That's how I look at it. I'm going to game, just throw up a stream. Like I'm going to do this. Like why? Because I'm already doing the thing I love doing. And now I'm doing it with that. Like it's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer.
It was the same thing for me. A friend of mine built a PC for me to play Apex with them. And I'm like, well, I'm already going to be gaming, so how hard is it going to be to just hit that start streaming button and just stream, right? When I was already going to be gaming. Mind you, when I started, after streaming for a while, it kind of snowballed into other things, as you probably are aware too and have experienced. But when you start, it's all about getting started, hitting that start streaming button, and just having fun, right? And the viewers and followers and all that stuff, the subs they'll come after people see that you're having a great time.
Since we're here, right? Because like you had me give advice, like you asked me to give advice to those, and since we're here, whether or not this is out of turn for you, but I feel like this piece is very important. Let me just state, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Again, authenticity finds authenticity. Streaming is not for everyone. I know like everyone tries the rainbow sunshine, fairy coat, magic sprinkles. Be like, yeah, if you stream, just stream. Like, and I agree with that. But at some point, one has to realize whether or not you really are cut out to do it. Because like it's not for everyone. It's kind of like saying everyone's meant for the military. They're not. Why? Because then that would take away from the people that excel at it. So I'm not going to say, while I would love to see the content that people are going to create, I'm not saying you can't be a content creator, but streaming is hard. Streaming is not, it's easy for me, but it's not an easy task. I do broadcasting for tournament events. It's easy for me. Other people literally stress about like, did I do this right? Did I say something right? Did I say something wrong? You're literally in the moment. Like that is like, if you really break it down, there's no cuts. There's no like, I take that back. There's no like, let's redo the scene. You are giving the most authentic part of your being in the form of an internet display of who you are, or at least for some people, the persona that you want to give. It's not for everyone. So figuring out why you want to do it will help you figure out what you want to do when it comes to content creating. Because streaming is not for everyone. I've watched people literally drive themselves up a wall because they don't get, they're like, I'm missing something. It's like, yeah, there's a thing you need there for it to be what you're looking for. And if you don't have it, I can't teach you that.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to understand and realize that. Just like if somebody's like, I'm terrible at running, well, you probably shouldn't be playing football. or play golf. Why? Because you don't have to run. Play ultimate frisbee you have to run, but like
you have to run.
Disc golf. Play bowling. Like play something that meets what you're looking for. So if you're not like a social person, like and you hate people, why are you streaming? Like that, like why, if you hate interacting with people, why would you stream? Versus just make YouTube videos where you don't have to interact with them. You just put it out there and then people come to it. Why would you want to interact with people in real time if you don't like people? So yeah. I very much so think that if you're trying to figure it out really like deep inside, like figure out that's something actually you want to do and not like just set yourself up for potential, that's what I'm looking for here, disappointment. Because you'll end up just disappointing yourself. And then now your content's not what you want. Now you're upset about that. And then you just snowball into just this angry person.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more.
Really figure out if you want to do it and if you are cut out for it.
Yeah, I think you just at some point, maybe after a couple months of streaming or so, you got to ultimately you have to be honest with yourself, right? You've got to look at what you're doing and take a step back and think about, am I streaming to have fun? Am I streaming just so I can record my gameplay? Or do I really want to, try and turn this into a business, right? Or something where I can create either a supplemental or even a full-time income at. And knowing realistically what you want to do is going to help set you up for success. For some people, that success might mean, I'm going to step away from streaming and create content, or I'm going to step away from streaming and just do overtime at work or something like that, right? But it's a matter of being honest with yourself, and maybe you do want to create content or continue creating content, and that will help you just realize that, hey, maybe I need to re-strategize, or maybe I need to approach this in a different way. So I think that's really powerful advice that you're giving people, is just, you know what, you have to be honest with yourself, and not everyone is cut out for streaming, and that's okay. But still, we want people to try. If it's something on your mind, definitely we're encouraging everyone to try, right? Because
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what I also wanted to talk to you about is, let's say that you want to grow. Let's say you want to grow, you want to get bigger. What's something that people can do to stand out amongst the very saturated streaming world?
I think something that you have to do to stand out. Okay, so it goes back to being authentic. You have to find, and I don't even want to use the word niche, because it's not a niche that you really need to look for. What you need to look for is you. Like, I know that sounds very easy. But yeah, just look for who you are. But in reality, it's really like looking for what you want to do, what you want to present. Like, for instance, if you want to just present chaotic things on this earth, okay, cool. For whatever reason, you're doing it, but really figure out how you want to do that, and now like own what you're doing. Because sometimes, even if it's not you, you can own it to a degree where it becomes you, or you become it. But for me, it was, I went to, and my focus was people. So I went to other chats with the intent of becoming their friend, becoming somebody that they recognized, not becoming somebody that would go and steal their clout. No, becoming somebody that was recognized amongst them, like where they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, YD, how have you been? Like, let's talk." Like, blah blah blah. Like, yo, I'm good. Like, how are you? And then that would get to a place, because it's natural. It's an equation. When you care about somebody and they feel like you care about them, you naturally become closer. When you become closer, they want to do things with you. When they want to do things with you, you now are showcased to their friends, to their people, and they go, meet this great being that I've met that has been nice to me. I like them. I'm sure you guys will too. And now you begin to grow, because you have now sown good, fruitful seed into the ground called life, into the ground of social meetings and social meetups and social interactions. So I think that people, for me, the way I grew was making sure people understood that they were my priority and becoming their friend. I didn't go in there and be like, "Hey, let's follow for follow." I did that for a little. That was annoying. People would hate it. People didn't respond to it well. But what I did instead was and when I full-time streamed, I did this. I would stream for like 8 hours, and I would take like an hour, hour and a half of just like surfing Twitch and meeting people, saying hi to people's chats. If somebody, and it was real quick, and I said hi, and you were kind of like, "Yeah, hey, what's up?" "Oh yeah, no, I was out." Why? I didn't have time to waste on somebody that didn't even seem like they liked what they were doing. Like, why are you streaming? Back to the, are you really cut out for this? So I purposefully dove into people's streams, people's lives. Like, they'd be talking and be like, "I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I'm just stressed." And I'd be like, "Hey, you don't have to, but if you want to, like, why are you stressed? What's going on?" And XYZ, this, that, the third. So that's my advice.
Mm-hmm. That's actually something I was going to touch on in a separate podcast or video. Was a lot of people have questions about, how would, streaming etiquette, or like chat etiquette, and also networking, because for some people, networking is a touchy subject, because some people see it as you're chasing clout, or you're just using other streamers to gain a following yourself. But there is some networking that you can do, but you just have to do it the right way. You have to do it with the intent of just wanting to have fun or get to know someone. And you, if people see you around and they recognize your name, like you said, eventually curiosity takes over. They might, click on your name and see, hey, this guy actually streams, and come by that way. But you never want to do anything that is can be perceived as self-promotion, because self-promotion is one of the biggest no-nos on Twitch. As most people discover the hard way when they start streaming or when they start hanging out in Twitch, is that they end up self-promoting by accident, and they get banned, or people just call you out and you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? Right? So
yep.
Yeah, really good advice. Just go into other streams, hang out, get to know people, have fun. And if you don't like the vibe there, bounce, because there's lots of other streamers out there.
Mad saturated. That's the thing about Mad Saturated, is you can just find whatever you want. Find whatever you want.
Yeah. But that's also the beauty of Twitch, right? Is like, if you don't vibe with someone, if I went into your stream and I was like, Carter, and you didn't respond with Lee, I can bounce. I can bounce. If no one was gonna be the Carter to my Lee, I can bounce. I'll find another.
I'll find another Carter.
I'll find another Carter. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could.
I'm so replaceable. Oh my goodness.
No, you are not. You're not replaceable. You are. Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and I know that I never got to talk to you about this, and I was a little bit curious, and also, I felt bad not talking to you about this, just because, I don't know how this all played out for you. And I was almost a little bit worried to ask you about, that time where you were full-time streaming and people were like, you can do it. You can do it, CJ. You can partner push. You can become partner. And your views were growing. Like, I know, like, at some point you were averaging like over 40 some odd views. Did you average 50 views for a little while?
No, I never averaged it. I would have like moments of streams where it was like 50, but I honestly, when it comes to that, besides like needing money, which it wasn't super consistent, when I was streaming and when I got big was when COVID was really bad, so everyone was home. As COVID lightened, people went outside. Now they weren't sitting in chat rooms anymore, so these people that were looking to streams for a social outlet didn't need to anymore because they could go back outside. So I think that mixed with the fact of just like things that were going on in my life, and sometimes things are just not meant to happen the way that we might want it. I remember though, just being, the idea was, what my dad always taught me was my dad always taught me that if you're going to do something, do it right. So I was like, if I'm going to stream full time, I might as well go as far as I can. And I did. I went pretty far. Like, I got 1,000 followers. I was streaming 5 times a week. I was streaming for like 8 to 10 hours each time. I was playing new games. I was having people on my stream. I was being on the consistent time basis. Like, there was these different things. I did a lot of the things that people will give you advice on. This is how you do it. Partner push was a lot. It was a lot. Like, there was a lot of emotional things going on because I was struggling with my like mental, like I was in therapy at the time, and there was just a lot of things going on, and I let a lot of people in that I shouldn't have, and then I got hurt, and then I had stopped streaming because I was depressed. Again, vicious cycle. So I think that just like anybody, like with growth, like you have plateaus. And I think depending on when you're doing what you're doing, changes how you should look. So for instance, I'm not mad that I don't have 40, 50 people watching me anymore, because I kept, towards the end of COVID, 20 to 30. Like, even now, I don't stream that much. But even now, to this day, I can still hold like anywhere from 12 to 20 people in my stream. without without posting on internet, without like letting them know I'm coming ahead of time. It just happens. And so that was my idea, and my focus was to create a place that people could just come and chill. Like, you know what you're coming for when you get to CJ's channel. You know what's gonna happen. What? You're just gonna be able to hang out and have a good time. And maybe we'll have a serious conversation. Maybe we'll be talking about, like last time, we're talking about if you wanted to fight a chicken every time you got in your car, or fight a lion once a year. One of the dumbest questions someone could ask. But guess what? It became a whole segment for an hour. People are coming in like, why are we talking about this? Be like, hey, this is what happened. Like, now that you're here, you got to answer the question. Like, I don't want to hear it. You're asking me questions. Answer the question yourself. So that feeling of just like comfort and cozy, like to be able to just be you and just figure out what's about to happen. Like, yeah, that was more of what I was worried about in my partner push. And I'm pretty sure I could have did things to help the push. I could have bought followers. I could have like sold myself on the internet. I didn't want to do any of that because that wasn't authentic to me. I wanted to give people me.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the emotions that you had and the ups and downs of that partner push. Can you speak a little bit more into the kind of toll those emotions had on you in your personal life and your streaming life?
The emotions, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. There's been several times on my streams that I cried because I was being very honest with my chat, and I would tell them like what was going on in my life. I was very open with my chat. I was very open with a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't be. But I always wanted to make sure that if I was going to ask people to be open with me, that I needed to be open with them. So for me, I was like, okay, well, if I want people to be open with me, I got to be able to do that for them. So they now feel more like they feel comfortable in doing it. It's kind of like if you want someone, you're in a relationship, you want someone to open up, you be vulnerable. That's backwards. No, I mean, it sounds it, but if you created a culture of this, when people now see your culture and they want to be around you, they're going to naturally parrot what you're doing. So if you're closed off, but you're wondering why people are closed off, probably because you're closed off. Like, yeah, you get blessed or lucky to find somebody that will be different than the narrative. But at the end of the day, if you want something, you have to provide that into the world before you can even begin to expect it. I can't expect people to be respectful to me if I'm disrespecting every person that I meet the minute I meet them. No, I have to be even more respectful than what I would want, because I'm going to want them to do that back. So I have to give them like a Richter scale, like an example. And then if they then decide to still not be respectful, ain't nothing I can do. So for me, it was a lot of just, because in that time period, I was still like finding myself. So I opted to just be myself. So there were days I got in the stream and I was like already upset. And I would just be like, guys, this is what's going on. And I didn't have to go into detail about it, but I was just able to share with them, like, I'm not feeling it today, but I'm here. Like, I'm not feeling it, but I told you I'd be here, and I'm not dying, so I'm here.
Yeah.
So it was just a decision to just let my heart bleed out in the open and really see if the community I wanted was actually in front of me. And I in essence, I trusted these random strangers over the internet.
Yeah. And that's sort of the story when you're streaming, right? Is you never know what you're going to get. And you know what? You do have to trust that, give up that trust a little bit when you're streaming. So you also talked about, after it was all said and done, you've still got, 12, 15 people who are consistently there every time that you stream without you being, posting on your Instagram that, hey, I'm going live, or, doing things like that. Can you talk about what that means to you, knowing that you've kind of built that little community and knowing that no matter what, those viewers or that certain group of people are going to be there for you?
It means a lot because it did mean that I succeeded. It's not 5 million people, but it's people that I created like lasting friendships. There are people that I met through streaming that I've now been able to like hug their neck and eat food with them in person. Like for me, that was success. Like people ask me, were you successful with your stream? I was, but you weren't able to do it full time. That was going to be a benefit of succeeding exponentially. But I succeeded. What I wanted to do, I did. And I had to give myself more credit because I was blind to what success looked like for me in this situation. Success wasn't getting $1 million every year. That was nice. Like people would be like, oh my God, if you become a big streamer, like blah, blah, blah. And you can become an internet sensation overnight. Like I could do one stream that I thought was nothing and a clip come out and people love it. And now I went from 10 people to every time I stream there's 500. And now the narrative completely changes. Do I know when that's going to happen? Nope. Do I know if that's going to happen? Nope. What do I know? Just being there, being consistent. So I'm glad now that my consistency created consistency.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. And, I'm going to speak about what you said there, where you had to give yourself credit. And I've always been a firm believer of giving credit where credit is due. But, a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit for their accomplishments, whether it's small, big, and they don't realize that, what's successful for someone, when someone on the outside said, well, you didn't make partner, you didn't succeed. And then you said, hey, no, I did succeed because I set out to do this. And this was success for me. And a lot of people they get so influenced by the outside. And we live in that world of social media, instant gratification, and, trying to live up to others' expectations and just not being honest with yourself and not loving yourself. So I think that's wonderful that you feel that way. And you're not bitter about it, and you really just value the people around you, right? So I can't say enough about that. This is why we love you, CJ. This is why we love you.
I love you guys. I really do. The people I've met through this platform know more about me than half the people that live within a 30-minute radius of me. And it was just because I decided to be open and they were open back. We cried together. We laughed together, cussed each other out. Sometimes wouldn't talk to each other for 2 days. But you know what? Hey, it's drinking night. And we would play Mario Kart and drink and drive in Mario Kart. And those are some of our favorite times of like...
Don't drink and drive, folks. Don't drink and drive. Mario Kart only.
Unless it's Mario Kart. Then yes. I 100% promote drinking and driving in Mario Kart when you're at home. Do not go in your car. Do not go in your car and bring Mario Kart with you and then try to say, well, he told me. No, I did not. I told you to go sit at home, play that damn game, and sit your tail on that couch and enjoy a group of people.
100%. So one of the things that I know that you kind of talked about already. So maybe if you can think of something else, because you talked about, one thing was turn off that viewer count and, just stream, have a good time. Can you, for the aspiring streamers out there, new or small streamers, or even, experienced streamers, what's a couple pieces of advice that you'd want to share with other people who stream?
I would say don't lose sight of what you like to do. I did say that earlier, but just reiterating it, don't lose sight of what you like to do. There was a time period where I was streaming Actually, hold on. Let me hold on. Wait a minute. Let me back up. Let me back this straight up. Back it up. The first thing you need to do is find your circle, your round table. So, in this streaming world, you are going to meet people, talk to people, befriend people, find out who is like the fake, the not, the real, the like-minded. I was very blessed that I had several friends that I already knew from like school and like past life that now were able to sit in my streams and tell me and give me like good advice. And for me, I think that you definitely need a strong support group that aren't yes men. You need people that are going to be like, I don't know about this one. Like, I don't know if this is what you're trying to put out. Because there was a while where I did nothing but play Apex on stream. And my friends came to me and said, TJ, you've been playing Apex a lot. They're like, that's fine. They were supporting me. They were checking in, but they challenged me. And they said, are you trying to be an Apex streamer? And I got my brakes pumped fast because while I was partly doing it because I liked it, but I was also doing it because it got me a lot of views. Why? Because Apex was mad popular at that time. I stopped playing Overwatch for it because of the potential clout. Like, oh, if I get like a pop-off play, like I could get famous. So I backed up and I started playing games that they're not the trending game, like Resident Evil 4, not the remake either. We're talking about the original one that came out years ago. I played a run through with my friend where I was in a call, he was in a call. I shared it with him on my screen, and we played the game together. And that was literally when I took off. It was playing Smash Brothers with my boy, who we were just getting to a call and talk trash and allow other people to come in. Like I decided to have a small circle of people that could come to me at any point and had access to say anything they needed to say, and that were actually geared towards helping me figure this thing out. If it wasn't for them, I would not be where I'm at. I'd probably be stressed out. So one, you need to find your circle. You need to find a circle. It's not like if you don't find your circle, just stop. But like find a group of people that you can be honest and open with. Whether or not they play the game with you, whether or not they play the same games as you, just getting that feedback is so important. That would be one. And two is to not lose sight of like what you want to do. And not what you want to do is and how you want to succeed. No, like, what do you even want to play? What do you even want to talk about? If you want to talk about cars, bro, do it. Find a way now to make that enjoyable for the other person. Don't cop out and go for, well, this game's super popular right now, and so I'm going to play it. But you hate shooting games. Why would you play that? Because it's popular. You're going to hate everything about everything. Play or do something that you like to do. Some of y'all won't even know about this game. Pirate Warriors, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Some of y'all are gonna be like, what is that game? Some of you are gonna hear One Piece and be like, oh, I know the anime. Some of you are gonna hear Pirate Warriors and be like, it sounds like Dynasty Warriors. Pirate Warriors was literally, I think, Koei Tecmo or W Force, the individuals who made Dynasty Warriors, took their format, grabbed One Piece, and made it into a game. Literally, if you went on Twitch right now, that is not a high watched channel. But guess what happened? I was me. And every Wednesday, we played Pirate Warriors. And what happened? People would come because they liked One Piece, they liked Dynasty Warriors, or they just liked the fact that somebody was talking to chat. Why? I didn't have to be competitive. I sat in a call with one of my friends from my circle, found a game we both liked, said, hey, let's make a segment, and we're going to do this, and we're going to see if people like it. And they loved it because they loved hearing us go back and forth, not because the game was big. but because it was something that we thoroughly enjoyed and we're just sharing it with everyone else. So find your circle and stay true to what you really like to do. Find a way to incorporate it.
Two wonderful pieces of advice, man. I couldn't agree with you more. Dynasty Warriors was hype, by the way. They mispronounced the shit out of the names, but
Yo, no comment, because I'm sure I did too.
There was something about riding into an army of 1,000 with your horse and just absolutely massacring the entire
everybody. Everybody got the smoke. It's so great. So great.
Who was your don't be afraid of mispronouncing, but who was your favorite character back then?
Zhao Yun, excuse me. Zhao Yun was a lot of fun for me. Ma Chao was sick. Lu Bu, everyone respected. And then when I got into Orochi Warriors, which is where they took Samurai Warriors, which was the Japanese, I guess, interest point of it was samurais versus like Dynasty Warriors was like the Chinese dynasties. I loved playing like as Nobunaga Oda. I loved playing as some of the big names that I knew from studying like Art of War, studying history, like military history. I loved being able to play as like these people, Liu Bei, you know, Cao Cao, just Sun Jian's, I think it was Sun Jian. Yeah. Yeah, Sun Jian or something like that.
I think they pronounced it as Sun Quan or something like that.
Sun Quan, yeah, well, that was his son. That was one of his sons.
My bad.
Sun Quan was one of his sons. This is what I mean by like, I geeked out so hard about Dynasty Warriors because I didn't have online capabilities growing up. So this was a game that gave me hours of just gameplay. And I played it into oblivion. And then now when I started streaming, I was like, why not? And then you just find other people who like it. And then those are the people who stayed around because they're like, you like this game that nobody else likes. And I just wanted to find somebody that liked it too. And now we're friends. So
isn't that crazy how stuff like that happens where, you know, you're not playing the popular game, but you're just having a good time and people come through and be like, yeah, I like this guy. I like this game. This is the vibe, right?
Or they won't even know what's going on in the game. They're like, I don't even know. They're like, I'm just here to watch you because this is great. You seem like you really enjoy it. And that was when my whole perspective on streaming changed. I said, who do I want to be? Do I want to go with the crowd and try to stand out amongst the millions? Or do I want to go to the area where I'll find somebody else who really just likes this and we'll just get to know each other and create a lasting relationship. And that's what I geared myself towards versus trying to be spotted throughout the thousands.
Yeah. Because I'm going to honestly say, like, I would like 90% of the games you play, I wouldn't think of playing, or I don't know what the games are. And like, man, I would not play Smash with you because you would just run circles around me. I'd be tossed off the map more times.
That's just you know what? And I've been in that same boat. That's the only reason why why it seems like I'm great, because I spent hundreds of hours of getting tossed off. Hundreds of hours.
Cool, man. But yeah, I guess that leads us into you already talked about it. I was going to ask you, you know, what can people expect when they come into your stream? But I mean, you gave it to me before. You're way ahead of the game.
You expect to feel like you're one of us. Like, that's what we do. We talk to chat. We just do stupid stuff or say stupid things or talk about silly things or talk about serious things, and just be ready to feel like you've already been here for years. Like, yeah, sure, you won't know some of the names. Sure, you won't know some of the people, but you'll almost forget that you're brand new to the scene because of just the emphasis that I've had on being inclusive, of making someone feel like, even though I just got here, like, yo, how's your day? Like you choose what to tell me, but how's your day? What'd you eat today? Like, yo, real quick, favorite flavor for ice cream and why? Like, is there a reason or no? So these different things, is it like that all the time? No. Some days it's not like that. Some days it's just chaotic and I miss half the chats. And some days there's nobody talking and you and I can have a wonderful conversation. Like literally, I think it's not an expectation of what's gonna happen. It's more come in and be ready for whatever is there. Just like life. Just like when dealing with your friend. You go hang out with your friend, you have no idea what state of mind they're gonna be in. But it's okay, because why? We're friends. So expect to feel like my friend when you come there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I can attest to that, everyone, is when you get into a YD Average Nerd chat, expect to be treated like a friend that he's known for as long as he's lived. That's what you get in a YD Average Nerd stream. You know what? I want to backtrack a little bit because, you know, you talk about how you're inclusive, and I want to talk about one of your channel point redemptions, which is words of affirmation. It's something that I really loved seeing, being a part of. So can you tell me about how that came about and why you do it?
So I found the people that would badmouth themselves. And so I wanted to create something that, like, because people would be like, oh, a hug, I'll give you a hug. And it's like, yeah, that's cool and all. But sometimes people want to like hear, like sometimes they need to hear that, like, hey, you're doing a good job. So what the idea was is that someone in chat would force me, or not force, but like would request me to lift up somebody else that was in the chat. Like, yo, stop. You're good at the game. No, I'm not. I'm bad. CJ, words of affirmation. Like, tell them what it is. I mean, and I never lied to people. So, like, if they were bad, I'd be like, well, you're bad. I was like, but let me tell you what you're good at. Because I'm not going to lie to you and be like, oh, yeah, you're super great at the game. No, you're awful. Like, you're low-key bad. But remember that you're new, because that's the thing, is words of affirmation doesn't mean I'm gaslighting you. Words of affirmation, or for me to affirm, is to boost or bolster different aspects of you that you may not see. Yeah, you're not good at the game now, but you've been playing it for 3 days. And for somebody who's played it for 3 days, you are far along than somebody else or than I was 3 days ago, or my first 3 days in playing it. Or yeah, you're not good at this game, but you know what you are good at? You're good at X, Y, Z, this, that, the third. Or hey, like, I don't know you, but I want you to know what I do know about you, which is what? You're valuable. Why? Because you're unique. Why? Because you were created. You weren't just like pooped out. Like, you were formed. You were created in your mother's womb. You had a purpose and a plan on your life before you were even born. And we forget that. And some of us don't know that. So let me reaffirm of something that was sat there, that was put there. You didn't even realize was there. Let me reaffirm that you didn't even know was in you. So it was an idea that I didn't think was going to take off. It was an idea for chat to do something that the world doesn't do, which is create more positive ground. So I wanted to create a culture of people being complimented, and real compliments, not just like, oh my God, you're so pretty, even though they look like a hot mess. Like, yo, you're beautiful, even though you look like a hot mess. And here's why. So.
Yeah. And I really strongly encourage anyone who's listening to this podcast, watching it, wherever you're enjoying this content from, is jump into a YD Average Nerd stream and just be there. Like, you don't even, just be there and being a part of it, or just seeing words of affirmation happen organically, it's something that is just, it's amazing. It really is. And the way that you lift people, the way that you encourage people, the way that you support people, I've been one of those people. you know, where you've really lifted me up, you've brought me along, and you've just been a really great friend, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing to be a part of. Love being there when I can, because you know a lot of times I'm not there because I mean you're 3 hours ahead of me, and I've got 2 kids, a wife, you know, a marriage family that I want to continue to have. So
Yeah.
I'm not always on Twitch and able to hang out with everyone, but I've seen words of affirmation happen so many times, and it's wholesome, it's loving, it's supportive, and you can't find that in many places in the online world or in the world at all anymore. So props to you for that. I commend you. And I know it's just you being you, but it's beautiful, and I really want people to know that hey, they need to go by your stream and be a part of it. So having said that, you know, this is your time, man. Where can people find you?
So, YDAverageNerd is the handle. So, as in the letter Y, the letter D, average nerd, you'll pretty much find me. If you look up your daily average nerd, I somehow picked a screen name that nobody else has, like period. And that was like the biggest thing I wanted. I wanted something that spoke to me. And I'm just your average guy. Like I'm not, you'll go into my channel and you'll be like, this guy is not like super great at the game he's playing. Most times I'm not, but I enjoy it and I want to share it with others. And I was like, I wanted to get something that encompassed all of me because I'm not just a weeb. I'm not just a gamer. I love fantasy books. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite series. And so Star Wars and different things like that, like anything encompassing a nerd. So I was like, let me just grab a name that encompasses everything. So I'm just your daily average nerd. That's it.
Awesome. CJ, thank you so much for being a part of this. And I really hope that everyone comes by and checks you out and hangs out and gets to know you the way that I have. And you're just going to have a great time. So, again, CJ, thank you so much for doing this. Anything else you want to say before we end off here?
I just want, in case no one told you, in case no one has told any of you, I know it's hard. I know it's hard seeing zeros. I know it's hard not feeling instant gratification, but there's no glory in the grind. There's not, but there is grace there. And if you can have grace on yourself and your situation and have grace in just in the general and take that lesson in life, then I know that you will be able to experience life in a way that a lot of people dream of. And it's really easy to have. It just takes a mental shift. So just know, like, you're not alone. You're not the only one that's been there. You're not the only one that's thought about that or had those thoughts. But just know, like, that you're doing good. You're doing good.
What a way to end off. Thank you, CJ. If you made it this far, thank you so much for being here. I truly hope that you found value in this episode. Once again, this has been the Small Streamer, Big Dreamer podcast. I'm Dangles. You're awesome. Keep dreaming big. And while you're already here, make sure you check out this video with Matty Seps, where he talks about what you can do to stand out in a very crowded streaming landscape.